Welcome back. So this isn't going to be like a normal who to use for the SD that's coming up. This is a midweek, the Unleash the Heat Faction Clash contests. Um, and it's pretty cool because there's a lot of good stuff here. You get a green Botchman plate for free potentially. You can get a free Botch Slapped plate for free. And you're going to be able to get the gold Hall of Fame Lex gear. Plus, of course, some econ, which is cool. Some solo points, strap, more econ, stuff like that. So I think most factions are probably going to be very interested in maxing this one out, right? We are, at the very least. And it's going to be maxable. All right. So there's what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million there. All right, plus another 2.5. So 7 plus 7 million. Silly. Plus 25000. So that's 9.5. Plus another 5 from here. We get you to 14.5. And then there's spend some coin to get some points, and then there's some loot coins here. So we figured it out to be about 200k per person to max it out. Maybe that's not obtainable for everybody, but at the very least, 145,000 roughly from each player should be possible. All right, and that puts you at gold chest roughly with the coin that you spent during talent up, and then the rest of it is going to be on everybody else to actually get there. So the most difficult of these tasks, these are all going to be um, very doable, except for these two: Lex Luger and Yokozuna, and the Stars and Stripes Showdown. Um, oh, I wonder what this means. Anyway, so we probably need to figure out how to run Lex and Yoko, and obviously, I think um, for this particular showdown, the Lex and the Yoko that you should probably be using are the revamps. Hall of Fame Yoko isn't the greatest that I was able to see. Granted, I did very, very limited testing, full disclosure. Um, I did very limited testing with Hall of Fame Yoko. And then of the Lex Lugers that are in the game, you have Hall of Fame, and then you have Showboat. And Showboat Lex, basically, you can figure out a way to sub loop. But let's look at the new stuff, right? The new stuff is new. So fun. And I'm going to start with the Lex here and hope that my system doesn't crash. Yay. Um, and I want to start off with like the driving factor of both Showboat Yoko and Powerhouse Lex is this moment. The reworks are designed around this moment. Um, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. When you get them all maxed out, Protect gems do 400% more damage. Botch gems do 400% more damage. And then they get a couple of other little buffs here. Less damage from all colored gems, 50% more health. And neither one of them use multiply gems. Okay, so um, this stuff helps, but these two are the main drivers for both of these cards. All right. I can't level it up. I'm missing one 6-star bronze, and I just can't. I can't justify taking them up for this particular contest. You can't hear "Don't Have Big Papa Pump," and this guy's level 1 on my roster, so I'm going to be stuck at 25 until the end of the month, where I can rock him up to 6-star bronze, and he'll be gold anyway because of his training ability. So let's look at Lex Luger here real quick. This is the setup that is going to be the most universal. And what I mean by that is you don't have to worry about your opponent. This works on everybody. So it's a suplex, make 20 random gems into botch gems. This is 6-star silver, by the way, so it may increase at 6-star gold. Military press slam, choose 7 and make into red, and attitude adjustment. Deals 710k damage plus 284k bonus damage for every botch gem. And then finisher, deal another 710k, choose 9 gems and make it yellow gems and pin your opponent. So the finisher is going to do 1.4 million damage. So red move damage isn't necessarily a bad thing to focus on here. It is actually going to be a pretty decent option. Just to increase the size of his finisher, it's going to help everything a little bit. If you've been watching any of my specialty gem series, though, you should understand that the big damage get here for all of this is this bonus damage for every botch gem. All right, so there's this 284, and this 284 is going to be affected by the moment. So right here, 284 multiplied by 2.26 means that 641, 840 is getting added in bonus damage. All right, so this 284 plus the 641, 840 is now the new baseline here. All right, and that's where a lot of the damage is going to come from. And the entourage reflects that. Okay, so I've got Wade Barrett, botch gems do 100% more damage. So now it's this 568 plus the 641. Now every botch gem is going to do 1.209 million. And there's going to be 20 of them. All right, so multiply by 20. 24.196 million unblockable at 6-star silver. Which isn't the greatest. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince anybody that that's the absolute best damage output in the world, but it's decent. It's going to be, the task is do 2,000 damage. So if you take this number here, you divide it by 2,000, you get 1,200. So you're going to get 1,200 points every time you hit this finisher. I still have a lot of levels to go. The rest of the entourage is really just to get everything up and running. 4 yellow MP from Kofi, 1 from Santa, 1 for yourself gets both red loaded. Your red move is 10 MP. So you have to use the Trick Hogan dual 3-match trick to get this loaded in Showdown. But it works. So this is going to be a very standard, easy to run through moveset. Now, here's the cool part. If you really want to hunt and peck for your opponents, and we don't know anything about what's going to be required on defense for this Showdown, they haven't really talked about it too awful much, and I haven't seen a blog post about it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, I just haven't seen it. You've got the running knee lift. All right, so let's put that in there for a second. This is finisher, deal 1.5 million damage, just off the rip, 1.5. So it's more finisher damage in one half of it than combined on the other finisher. Gain 8 yellow MP, so you're reloaded here. Hardcore, if your opponent's class is Showboat, deal 786. So now you're up to about 22.2 million. And then 433, 333 bonus damage. All right, so that 433, 333. And this still has levels to go. If I wanted to, well, here, let's do it. Why not? 483, 333, and it's 1.8 million damage plus another million here. So this gets really large. Obviously, Lex is meant to fight Showboats, which Showboat Yoko. It's all about the moment where Lex body slammed Yoko, right? So he's designed to fight Showboats. So let's take this 43, 333, multiply that by 2.26. Now you're getting 1 million. Plus the 966, 666. Now each botch gem is doing 2 million damage. You're making 20 of them. 41 million damage. 41.1 million damage. Now we're starting to talk about pretty significant damage. The task is for every 2,000 damage you do, you're getting 20,589 points every time you use this finisher against a Showboat. Now, I don't know what Showdown defense is going to be. Maybe make it so you have to use a Showboat, or maybe it's you have to use a Lex or a Yoko, or I don't know. There's no information about it. But you can go hunt Showboats with this setup and do some pretty good damage. The other anti-Yoko thing is right here. If the opponent generated at least one Protect Gem, deal 708,000, make the whole board into botch gems, and then go yoink the turn. I mean, what were you saying? We were up here at every botch gem does this amount of damage, right? And then multiply that by 49. That's a cool 100 million. I mean, if you can find somebody running a Protect Gem card, that's a Showboat. So if you find like King Gunther and you can manage to live through one of King Gunther's cycles, where somebody who has Showboat Yoko on defense, and you feel like you can survive the first turn, you can absolutely sandbag it. Use this move, get everything else loaded, let them drop a Protect Gem, and then you win. You just win. You win. All right. But for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to run that move set because there's other kind of cool stuff that Lex has got going on, even with the generic move set here. That can work turn one. It just doesn't hit as hard. All right. He makes botch gems, so you can put a botch slapped on him. This doesn't help nearly as much as I want it to, but it does help. But this is the one, the final boss finery. Whenever you make 15 or more botch gems, decrease all your opponent's gem damage by 80% for 3 turns. That's the amount of time a kickout is. 3 turns, tick, tick, tick. Gives you a little bit, no, don't remove. Gives you a little bit of safety. All right. Following along those lines, I highly, highly recommend putting armor 3 or armor 2s on everything. Just for the 60% gem defense, and then you've got the extra 80% gem defense here, and then obviously we all know that gem defense shows up as substats all over the place, right? So my gem defense on this Luger is like 275.5. It's huge. Plus he's throwing out botches, which is not easy to kick out of. You get the idea. So this is a heavily unleveled Lex Luger, 270. If I max him out, he's at what, 350? So I've got 80 levels left to go. But again, this is a bonus damage card. It's not gem damage. Going up against 6-star gold. Let's see what we do. And for the purposes of keeping everything on the board, I want to reload first. So we're going to run this way. Watch his health, 66.1. Drop the botches. There's 20 of them, plus some multis now. And then we're going to hit this move. That was about 26 million. And then we're just going to target as many of the multiplies as we can. And that's a good chunk of them. So the pin was about 33 million. He's not kicking out of any of it. I've got botch gems everywhere. My tier 6 metals reduces gem damage to almost nothing. The moment reduces gem damage. Plus, I have the Rock's Finery on it. That is a significant amount of reduced gem damage. I'm going to feel pretty confident running this in Showdown, heavily unleveled, specifically to get the Lex points. I'm going to pick and choose my opponents. I may actually headhunt showboats to give myself a little bit more damage. But that's the way to do it, especially if you have the moment. If you don't have the moment, don't run that Lex. Beg off that task for your faction mates and find something else that you can do and excel at and help your faction that way. That's unfortunately that's the way that works. So let's switch gears. Here's the other one, Yoko. Oh, did I just freeze? Oh, I just froze. All right. So Yoko, it turns out, and Scopely's done this a couple of different times. Because I just made a video on the original John Cena, and the original John Cena also works like this, but he works like this with reinforced gems. So now we have original Cena who works almost the same exact gameplay loop as Lex. Bonus damage on the finisher, creates a bunch of specialty gem types, has a move that reloads all of it, and does surprisingly good amount of damage, right? Um, in a moment that helps. Like these are we're getting into almost carbon copies of each other with different specialty gem types. Um, and Yoko is no different. There are very minor differences here, but nothing major. We'll talk about it. This Yoko setup that I'm about to show you, I'm gonna run it with no strap. When I go live in game and I'm trying to help my faction out, I will put the same strap I just used on Lex. I won't even switch the plates around because there's no good plates for Yoko because he's protect gem. And as you can see right now, I've got the worst strap that you can possibly put on a card. 10% gem damage up. I don't have anything unlocked. I'm not going to. Just know that I'm going to recommend Armor 2s here. If you really, really want to put a plate, you're going to want to put the LA Bite plate here, but it's not going to help that much. So your mileage may vary, but it's the same concept. Protect gems to 226% more damage. It'll be 400% if you have this moment maxed out. So if you go here and you look, this is going to be my preferred move set. But look at how hard it bullies specifically Lex Luger. Guillotine leg drop is your choose 8 to make into red. It's simply to fill up the bonsai drop. Reversal, if the opponent generated at least one botch gem, make 49 protect gems. And steal the turn. Samoan drop, make 13 randos into protect gems of strength 600,000. This is nothing. This is not insignificant. All right. But if opponent's class is powerhouse, deal up, 500,000 damage and make 23 random gems into protect gems of 600. Look at this. So this is 36 gems. That's 21.6 million damage soaked up every time they swipe during a kick out. 21.6 million damage. That's huge. That's going to help you more than you think. And then the bonsai drop, 252,000 bonus damage for every protect gem. Then finisher, 630k damage, and choose a 3x7 area to swap into yellow gems and pin. This is specifically because against powerhouses, you can load the entire board with protect gems, and they would have no chance. There is the back break move, which is deal 400,000 damage and choose a 3x7 area to make it a protect gems of strength 600,000. This is better if you're running against a non-powerhouse. But if you're running against a powerhouse, this one is better. And I want to show this one off because I am going to be running against powerhouse. But I'm actually going to do the same thing with Yoko that I'm going to do with Lex, which is I'm going to headhunt powerhouses. This is what he's built for. He's built to take out powerhouses, so that's what I'm going to do until the faction task is over, and then I'm going to switch to somebody who can actually win. All right. Entourage. No surprise. It is the same concept. It is identical in Kofi Santa Hogan for the same exact reasons. But instead of using Wade Barrett for 100% more botch gem damage, I'm using Otis for 100% more protect gem damage for the same reason. There's the 504. Here's the 252,000. Whoops, one too many, multiplied by 2.26 from the moment, plus 504,000, 1.73 million, 520, multiplied by, this makes 36. So we take this multiplied by 36. 38.6 million is what the finisher will do before move damage and creating the yellow 3x7. So let's check it out. Maybe we'll check it out. Maybe we won't. There we go. And again, the same exact move flow as original Cena and Powerhouse Lex. Even if you cascade one time, you're a little safe. Throw out the protects. I'm against the Powerhouse. You fill the entire board with them. Look at his health, 66.2 million. One 073520. If you notice over here, that's exactly what I had. And then it doesn't matter where you put it. Try to break as little as possible, but who cares? Should be about a 41 million pin. That's a good cascade, so 41 million pin. And he soaked up all the kick out damage. If I had armor 2s on him, you wouldn't even notice. He'd have been swiping into nothing. So there we go. I think that's the way to run those two cards if you have the moment in order to help your faction during this next contest, which has pretty good rewards, right? Hopefully everybody can max. I hope we max. If you've learned anything today, if you've been entertained by anything today, or if you just happen to like the sound of my voice, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Like.